to start each training session at the beginning of pre-season, players did the same warm-up that they would do in games at the beginning of training. The training session started with the warm-up of about 30 minutes, and I've explained what that was in a previous video, so have a look at that if you're unfamiliar with what we did. So after about 30 minutes they went into this exercise, and I've called this Rockdale Fitness, and you'll find that throughout these videos and throughout the sessions I call things just different names, things that I can easily recognise, and if someone says to the players, we're going to do Rockdale Fitness, I've mentioned that a few times so that they know what it is, and if we go into it again I don't need to use too much time explaining what we're going to do and they'll understand it. But for this, players are split into two groups. They are staggered across a channel, and player 1 will receive the ball, or player at 1 has the ball and he'll dribble. Now before he hits this middle line, which is just demarcated by cones, he has to pass to the player on the opposite side and then run around the player. Players did this for 3 minutes. Now we did 3 sets of it, so players would work between each player, passing, running round. When they got to the player at 4 here, they would pass back to the first player and they would run back around the player, collect the ball, and then they would just start again. Then they would do the zigzag around the players, passing and running between the players. The second time that they went through, and obviously this would be 3 minutes of the blues working, 3 minutes of the red working. The second time they did that, the players came a little bit closer and they would pass from inside the marked channel to the player. Again, passing and running, zigzagging their way through the players. The third time that they did this 3 minutes, they would be even closer to the player. So they would run through the channel, get to the opposite side, short pass around the player, collect it, run through the channel, short pass around the player, and make their way through the zigzag pattern again. This is more difficult than it seems in this. You've got to make sure that the passes are accurate. I have asked the players when they pass the ball to raise the pace of the run. Can we get a little bit of a lift? And it's constant moving, so the players that aren't working are actually working a little bit as well, working on that first touch, that layoff. The players that are working, can we make sure that they're keeping at a good clip? And we're looking somewhere between 60 and 70% of their maximum. If you're thinking that you're working 70% of your maximum for 3 minutes, that's actually quite a lot of work being done. After this, the players went into a game, 60 by 50 yard pitch, and they played 2 12-minute halves. There's a number of footballs spread out around the pitch, so if any ball went out, the players would just leave that one, grab another one and play on. The one condition of this game was that players were not allowed to stop moving. So even at throw-ins and at corners, even if they were just standing and marching on the spot, players were not allowed to stop moving. That included the goalkeepers. They played 2 12-minute halves, 9 aside, and I wanted to try and keep intensity, keep tempo and keep players moving, starting to build that cardiorespiratory endurance. And that was the session. 30 minutes of a warm-up. They went into the Rockdale Fitness, 3 sets of 3 minutes per group. So the Reds did 3 minutes 3 times, the Blues did 3 minutes 3 times, and then they finished off with the game. That was session 1 of that week. They did the same warm-up, and then they went into this, which is the Chelsea Fitness work. Now, if we're starting with this player down here, he zigzagged, just moving side to side, and then he had to play a right foot pass and a left foot pass before going into the D at the edge of the box and coming out to defend. The blue player on the opposite side of the screen, he did the same thing, zigzagging, pass right foot, pass left foot, into the D at the edge and coming out defending. The red players at the top, zigzag through, pass right, pass left, sprint up, and they would collect a football, and then it would be a 2v2 attack defence situation going towards goal. The players did this, and I believe we did 4 sets of 5 minutes. So 20 minutes of work, twice with the Reds attacking, twice with the Blues attacking. And again, They finished off 7v7, 50 by 40 yard field with 2 12-minute halves, 2-minute active rest. Now the active rest, which I forgot to mention in the first session, was just make sure you're moving. Don't care whether it's walking, doing keepy-ups with a football, jogging on the spot. I don't care what it was, but don't sit down, don't stand still, keep moving. The third session of the week started off with a little bit of a different warm-up, and this was because we had already played a game or two. The players were used to the game day warm-up because they had gone into a tournament weekend. So we went into warm-up, and it was just a dynamic warm-up that I'm sure lots of you have used. And that was after our rondo. Now, the rondo that we started with was the majority of the squad against 3 players. The 3 players in the middle have to try and win the ball back from the majority, and for them to get out, 2 of the 3 players need to touch the ball. So if this player's passing across here and this red player intercepts it, he needs to pass to one of his 2 teammates to get those guys out. And the rule that I use is, if that player messes up, the player to his left and the player to his right swap with the 3 reds. If, however, this player is passing there and the red intercepts, the blues can win it back. So if blues win it back before a second red touch the ball, they just keep playing rondo. They keep possession and they keep going. Players then go into dynamic warm-up. I'm sure you know what a dynamic warm-up is. You've used hundreds if not thousands of them in your coaching career. The fitness work for this session was 2v2s. The blues would always start with the ball and they would always pass into the reds. 4-goal game, 2v2. The reds would attack, trying to score an either goal. If the blues won the ball, they would be able to score in either of the 2 goals. Doesn't matter if the blues scored or the reds scored, the blues would always start for the 3 minutes. They would pass. They did this 4 times 3 minutes of work, and each time, each set, they would swap. So the next time that this game was done, the reds would be starting with the football passing into the blues. And it's just constant rotation. As soon as a goal is scored, as soon as the ball goes out, the next ball is in. The 4 players in the box clear it. 2 defenders come in, 2 attackers come in, 4 new players, and it's constant rotation. Now this might look crazy, but please try and follow the numbers, and you'll see that it's quite simple. So in section A, which is with the blue players, it's just understanding how I want to try and pass out from the back. So this player would start, be a nice 1-2, and with the full back, he would receive the ball and play it into the midfielder, who would play it back to the full back, into the attacking midfielder, back to the centre midfielder, out to the winger, back to the attacking midfielder, into the striker, and then he would switch. So it's going forwards to go backwards to go forwards. That's all it is. If we look at the other side, again you'll see it's going forwards into the defensive midfielder. Can you play in the full back to go forwards to the attacking midfielder, backwards to the defensive midfielder, into the winger, attacking midfielder, striker, and then you'd swap. So we wouldn't do A and B at the same time. It would be 2 sides of A. So the reds and the blues would do A. Then they would go into both of the B format. So both right and left hand sides would do B. And it's just about getting players understanding what options they've got to play out and play forward. Going into our phase of play, we're looking at the blue team trying to break across the halfway line and the red team trying to go towards goal. The red team are active defenders, the blue team are trying to utilise the things that we've just done in the passing patterns to get across the halfway line. They can dribble across the halfway line or they can finish by passing the ball. It was to the coach, to me, who is standing at the top of the centre circle. This session finished with a review of our position for defensive and attacking corners.